Great. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Jason Soroyan, the Interim Executive Director for the Gap Year Association. Really pleased to be diving back into our monthly high school educator and IEC networking group. We were really excited just to do some brainstorming as a team and wanted to keep these interesting and keep the dialogues going. And so one of the ways we're going to do that is to highlight some of our newest members to the GYA, none of them being new programs out in the world, but new to us. And so we're lucky today to have Plan My Gap here at Middlebury Language Schools here. And they're going to share with us a bit about their programs. And when that presentation is done, I'm going to dive into a little bit of, I'll call it AI research that I was building off of that our former board president did about post-secondary trends and what students are actually doing once they graduate high school. So Philip, I want to offer the floor to you as a place for you to be able to share about Plan My Gap Year. Hopefully, you've got screen sharing permission if you'd like to share a few slides. But tell
Sure.
us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your program. What is Plan My Gap Year? What does it do?
Sure. Shall I dive straight into the presentation from here, Jason? Yeah.
Go for
Okay.
it.
Let me
Yeah,
share my
absolutely.
screen and see if it all works. Can we see it okay?
I see it.
Cool. Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you guys today. My name's Philip Russell. I'm the director of Plan My Gap Year. I'm based in the UK. This is actually an organisation which I established in 2011. So I studied at Loughborough University in the UK. I was looking to volunteer abroad myself when I left university on my gap year. I was very disillusioned with the costs associated with these kind of programs at that time, and I was also concerned about the lack of personal touch from the organizations who are kind of operating in the space at the time. So, to cut a very long story short, I just thought I'm just going to create my own organization and do something different to the norm. So, gone from strength to strength over the last 15 years. We now recruit around 5,000 participants from around the world. We've had people join from around 45 countries, so our programs are not just limited to Brits abroad. We have people from all walks of life, all corners of the world joining our programs. We do cater for a very young gap year demographic. So typically our participants are 17 to 22 years old. 90% of them are traveling solo, 80% female as well. So the programs are very much designed around the structure and the safety aspects of those programs, just based on working with a young crowd and having a lot of parents involved in the process. But essentially, what we are providing is fully hosted volunteer travel and cultural experiences around the world. To give a quick visual in terms of where we're operating at the moment, we've got 17 countries across South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australasia. So they're year-round opportunities. We've got a permanent presence of volunteers in each country throughout the whole year. People can pick how long they want to join for. The programs are super flexible. So some people can go for 1 week if they're limited on time. Some people can go for 4 weeks, 40 weeks, whatever works best for them. Our experience is all very different in terms of volunteering in India is so different to volunteering in Costa Rica, likewise Ghana versus Greece. So us making sure that people are going to the destination which is appropriate and suitable for them is really, really important for us. What we do is not unique in terms of volunteering over abroad. You go on Google, you've got tons of options out there, but we feel like we stand out based on four main criteria. Firstly, the accessibility of our programs. They run year round. We have two start dates per month, so people can join at any time. They're not having to wait around for semesters to end or start dates to line up. The affordability of the program is really, really important. We've got a really good reputation for providing affordable options around the world. I'll go into the costs a little bit more on the next slide. Support aspect as well. And that's not only the support that we're providing in these countries, it extends right from the moment people engage with us in terms of that first inquiry. We want to provide that personal touch to make sure that, again, people are going to the right destination, that they're suitable, and they're going to have the experience that they're looking for. We've also extended that to when people get back from their trip. We don't want people's trip to end and we just say goodbye and they just disappear. We've created an ambassador scheme with our participants so they still have future opportunities with us once they finish their program, and that can include paid employment roles in their home countries as well. Responsibility of our programs is vital as well. We want to do things the right way. We want to make sure that people are going overseas and they're safe. We have a massive duty of care, massive responsibility to our participants and parents and loved ones back at home. We also want to stay on the right side of ethical volunteering, so we stay away from any orphanage-based placements. We stay away from hands-on elephant projects that are out there. All of our teams are local teams. They're community-led initiatives in our countries. The trust aspect as well is really, really important. When a parent or a participant talks to us, engages with us, we want to know that we've been to the country, done the whole experiences ourselves, so we can provide that trust to parents. That's been reflected through the Trustpilot reviews that we've got. We've got over 5,500 reviews online now, 4.8 out of 5. We're really proud of that. I think we're probably the best rated gap year and volunteer organisation out there now. And our support service was also acknowledged by the British Youth Travel Awards in 2024 for the best support service. In terms of how we work with consultants, advisors, schools, and parents, lots of communication before, during, and after these trips. I can't emphasize how much we place on that in terms of engage with us, talk with us. We don't want people just going on our website and booking a trip without engaging. We would just want to make sure that people are going to the right destination and that people feel as supported as they can throughout the whole process. So lots of touch points. People can book Zoom calls with us 7 days a week. We've got 20-minute slots across all time zones. They're free of charge. There's no limit. Some people have 21 questions on those Zoom calls. Some people just have one question, but that's the kind of support service we're putting in place. There's lots of touch points where people can engage with us. So yeah, Zoom, email, phone, WhatsApp, Instagram. So whatever platform people feel comfortable communicating, we're there to answer and engage with them. In terms of the costs, it depends how long you're going for and the destination, but a typical ballpark figure is around 1,000 US dollars for a 4-week trip in our destinations. That doesn't include the flights. That's just the in-country experience. I've tried to summarize a 15-year story in 5 minutes. So it's very quick, very brief. But please do look at our website if you're interested in what we provide. So planmygapyear.com. We try and make that as informative and as honest as possible. There's lots of reviews on there, lots of media, photos, videos, and obviously lots of text to kind of point people in the right direction. If anyone has any interest in what we do, please do contact me personally on philip@planmygapyear.com. I'd love the chance to talk about my experiences in these countries and how we work as an organisation. So yeah, thanks very much for your time again, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Philip, and just so amazing to hear about the background of Plan My Gap Year. Did you find when you were this youthful, optimistic, young man who returned from your own gap year, did you find that it was as easy to create a better program than you had thought?
Yes and
What were
no.
the
I think
challenges? Yeah,
yes and no. I think the good thing is I went into it very naive. I think going into this not knowing how anything worked was kind of like a blessing and a curse. So I just kind of
sure.
threw myself into it. I was very young and naive, but I did pick it up pretty quickly. But yeah, when I look at my experience now, I think, yeah, I'm glad for those experiences that I've had over the years. But I would just say, like, what I've learned is safety is the most important thing on these programs.
Sure, indeed. And we really admire your commitment to the ethical volunteering. It's such an important part of GYA and our accreditation process. And there are a lot of opportunities out there that don't really fall within that space. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you just because we're fortunate enough to have a number of program providers from, in Europe and in the UK. And one of the things I was thinking about this weekend was how in the UK, it seems there's actually an imperative structurally, hierarchically, 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 that's not it either, but through in your societal fabric where a gap year is actually almost an expected option, right? You're
Sure.
accepted to school, and then you have this lag time where you have this moment where there's permission. And in the United
Yeah.
States, that's not actually true. And even though we've tried to emulate the spirit and the wonderful outcomes of gap time, we're almost working against a system societally that doesn't want students to take a break. It wants them to go on to school. What have you seen in terms of trends of students from the UK, from the US, from other places around gap year over the many years you've been doing this now?
I think for us, I've definitely seen a decline in like US numbers
Mm,
post COVID or Trump, the rise of Trump as such. I don't
sure,
know, but yeah, I don't have any data to kind of provide today, but I've definitely seen a decline in Americans and increase in Europeans. I'm not quite sure why. I think in America, you're always going to be limited just by location in terms of to get out of your country just takes a long time and costs a lot of money, where, you know,
sure.
we can hop across to France for a day trip.
Yes,
So yeah, I think that's more limited. I would say definitely, certainly this year, I've seen a big increase in people just feeling hesitant to travel again due to rising costs, conflicts in the Middle East, those kind of things, which has been a shame, but it's just the way it goes in travel. I'm afraid.
yes,
Yeah, we go
right.
through waves really, but yeah, fortunately, people are always going to want to travel, right? It's not like, a travel industry is going away. Travel's going to increase year on year. People might be doing different things, but people are always going to want to get out there, explore. I've also definitely noticed that people don't necessarily want a structured program anymore, where you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram. I can go on there and find the top 10 things to do in Bali. I can go on Airbnb, book myself a really nice villa. I can go on Uber and get myself the airport pickup. So you can do a lot of travel by your phone now, where I'd say less people are looking for that kind of structured program, which is a shame. But again, it's just the way things are moving along with technology.
Right. And it's such an interesting point that you're highlighting because what you described is travel. And that's a very different thing than what gap year travel seems to offer in terms of the quality of experiences we might have, the way we might engage culturally, the connections we might make, the time that we spend in a different location. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, and I think just a final point, like in the UK, like a lot of companies are trying to get rid of the gap year term within their name because they're finding it too limited. So, for example, Gap 360 is one of the biggest organizations in the UK. They've rebranded today to Adventure 360. They want to shift that
Hmm.
gap year name because it's too limited to 18 to 22-year-olds rather than a larger market of 18 to 30. It might just be because the gap year market is a little bit down at the moment. People are just trying to widen their net to get more customers, or it might be a more longer term shift.
This is a
Um,
conversation we're having within our own association.
yeah,
And because we all believe, I think, that these experiences are really wonderful for anyone and that gap time can really happen at any point in one's life. And so, is it a self-limiting term that people only see it as that 18 to 22-year-old population? Thanks
yeah,
so much for sharing your insights. I want to
no
open up
worries.
to the floor if anybody has questions for Philip. So nice to be able to have just some moments with you. Pamela.
Hi, Philip. Thank you for that. That was
Hi.
interesting. I have two questions actually. One, you mentioned there's a lot of first-time solo travelers. So are kids ever coming together and you ever doing any group things, or is it all solo experiences? And then my second question was, I'm just seeing a lot more 24, 25, 26-year-olds who are lost. They might have a college degree, they might still be working on one,
Yeah.
and just that population, because I know you service that population as well.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we do have quite a lot of groups who join us. So for example, like we've got University of Connecticut, Florida Atlantic University, University of Alabama. So we have quite a lot of cohorts who do join us. A lot of the time, it's more like education and healthcare faculties that are taking a group of students away. Sometimes, yeah, it's academically led by lecturers at a university. Sometimes it's just more student led. So we do those group itineraries. They're run a little bit different to our kind of standard programs. They're a bit more bespoke. Um, Yeah, in terms of people that are more 24, 25, 26, they definitely pop up, and there's definitely maybe then a gap to maybe people who are 50, 60 who are looking to do these kind of experiences. They do struggle with the way we run our programs sometimes. To have, a 25-year-old on our program is going to expect a bit more freedom to get on the back of a motorbike, to not have a curfew, to, get up when they want in the morning. So that sometimes doesn't align with the safety net that we put in our program. But yeah, definitely, yeah, people out there, people just feeling a little bit, lost in life and looking to do kind of something positive. But I'd say from our like responsibility perspective as well, like there's definitely, a rise of people with, more wider needs in terms of like mental health issues. And that's just something we have to be really careful about, where we want to make our programs inclusive and widen accessibility, but we also need to manage that from a safety point of view, where we don't want to put people in potentially compromising situations in developing countries, which can cause stress and anxiety and those kind of things.
Mhm.
So yeah, those themes are coming up a little bit more, I'd say, as well. Again, coming out of COVID.
And if somebody still wanted to do something between now and the start of school, are you still setting that up, or is it too
Yeah, I
late
had
for the
someone the
summer?
other day that said, "Can I fly this evening?" And it's
Oh,
possible, as long as long as people have a criminal background. Like we have to have people who've had like a police check or criminal background check
sure.
completed. As long as people have got that and they don't have any visa restrictions, yeah. Especially going into summer, we have people who are looking to go very last minute. They do pay a premium for the flights, but yeah, it's definitely possible.
Okay, great. And then you have 1 week options. Those are just individual 1 week options,
Yeah,
or
1 week options. They are, I'd say, from North Americans, Americans and Canadians will travel for shorter than Europeans. I don't know why. I
Mhm.
think maybe just, yeah, more limited on time. I
Mhm.
always think, God, these programs are a long way to go for 1 week, not to even have a weekend there to travel. But yeah, sometimes people are just limited. That's all they can do. I'd say 4 weeks per country is best. The other
Okay.
trend I've seen is people are spending less time in these destinations. Traditionally, 10 years ago, people were going 3 months volunteering in Ghana. Now people are saying, no, I'm going to go for 2, 3, 4 weeks, which I think is better, because I think 3 months in these countries as a young person, the trip loses momentum after 6 to 8 weeks. They need something new. They need something fresh with young people these days.
Great. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So many of these trends line up, I think, with what many of us who have been in that counseling advising role have seen over the years. So thanks for sharing all of that. Diane.
Thank you for all that information. It was really great, Philip.
No worries.
I apologize because I was a few minutes late, and so if you've already answered this, put me on. I'll talk to you later. But how are you matching people? You said, we all know that that's a really important thing. Sort of, what's your intake? Do they send you?
I'd say it's more a case of like general expectations of what they're expecting for a trip. Do you want to get really involved in that volunteer project? Is that your main motive for travel? Because although our programs are volunteer based, there's also a large travel component of the trips. So if people are wanting to get really stuck into the volunteering, I'd say go to places like India, like Cambodia, like Ghana, where if people are like, look, I want a bit more comfort, I want a Starbucks down the road, I want air conditioning, I'm going to say, well, don't go to India, because that's not going to happen there. Go to somewhere like Bali, go to somewhere like Costa Rica. I'd also say age has a real important basis on where you're going as well. So I know out of all of our local teams, the one that do provide the most support, who are going to be there getting people's evening meals at 11 o'clock at night and those kind of things. So for a 17, 18, 19-year-old who will come on a Zoom call with a parent, and that parent will be leading the call, I can exclude so many destinations already, because I think there's a risk that this person is going to struggle there. And I immediately shift to, okay, they're either going to go to Bali, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, where we've got the most supportive teams. So yeah, it's never 100% right. Yeah, sometimes people do struggle, but I just say it's important for us to be in these destinations. Like I go to these destinations all the time, not with a massive agenda, but just go and sit there for 3 days and just to pick up things off our volunteers and to sleep in the accommodation, see what's working well, so I can kind of have those more like honest conversations with parents and students back at home.
Julia, you had your hand raised for a moment.
Yeah, thanks for all this, Philip. I have two questions. One is, are you using like partner organization housing, or do you guys have your own standalone housing? And same kind of with
Uh,
your in-country coordinators, are they just yours, or are they kind of a dedicated person but within the structure of a partner organization?
Most of the time they're ours, so we try and have like teams they are effectively third party organizations, but they're working for us on an exclusive basis. So all the training comes from our head office. It's like a bit of a franchise model
Hmm.
where they're going under our guidance. In terms of the accommodation, yeah, it's usually like our own accommodation as well. But in locations, let's say Australia, for example, where you've got nice youth hostels in the cities, we can tag into that network and people can stay in those alternative properties instead. But typically, they're private volunteer residences that we're hosting people in, where it's just our volunteers. They're not like guest houses, and they're not hosting other organizations' volunteers either.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Phil. Would you mind dropping both your website and your contact information in the chat for folks so they can
Sure.
follow up? Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
thank you. And I know again it's later in your day, so if you want to sign off, feel free. Or we'd love to have you stay if you've got time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Molly,
again, thanks for the opportunity, guys. I really appreciate it.
thank you. Molly, from Middlebury Language Schools, thanks for joining us as well. You're just up the road from us here in Northampton, and I'm just really keen to hear more about your program and hear you share a bit more about the work you're doing.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. And I will go ahead and share some slides. Does that look okay? All right. All right, I'll talk just for a few minutes about the Middlebury Language Schools and then can leave plenty of time for a Q&A session. It's great to follow Philip, just kind of and thinking who we are and who we are working with. Because for our programs, I almost think of us instead of a gap year, like a gap summer for students. Also, a way for students to get college credit over the summer before they enroll in a college and to have kind of a great support network, a great system in place at a place like Middlebury College before potentially they go abroad on one of these amazing adventures wherever they go in their world. So it's great to get the language in advance before they partake in the adventure because then they're, as we all know, are going to have even a better experience when they go. So the Middlebury Language Schools were based in Middlebury, Vermont. We are connected to Middlebury College, of course, but in the summer, it's fully operated as Middlebury Language Schools. So this is me. I've been with the language schools now for about 8 years. I work on the admissions, kind of the upfront working with students who are interested in applying all the way up till they get here and then get to know them when they're here. And it's an absolutely incredible job. And I'm based right in Middlebury, Vermont. Any questions following up, always feel free to reach out to me. Or if you're working with students or have family members or you're interested in the language schools, feel free to reach out to me directly. So we have a long established program at the Middlebury Language Schools. So the Middlebury College was, of course, founded in 1800, and we've been operating since 1915. We've come a long way, but throughout all those years, we are still known as the best place to come and learn a language. People choose Middlebury, Vermont over going to Beijing and Florence and Tokyo. They come here and they try to come here first before they come abroad. And it's almost hard to explain why we are so good at this. Since you're so close, I encourage you to visit. if you're in Northampton and kind of see what we're doing. It's amazing. You walk around our campus right now, and everyone is speaking a different language and staying within the language pledge. So that's really what we're known for, 24/7 immersion experience. From the moment you go to bed, you are living with the students who are all studying your language. You're living also with the faculty and staff. You wake up, you're brushing your teeth in language. All of your meals are within that language, and you're literally signing a contract saying that you're going to speak, read, and write in that language for the entire summer. And that goes pretty much for complete beginners as well. So it is intense. There's nothing quite like it. I almost describe it sometimes as like military boot camp or running a marathon. It's one of those things you want to check off in your life, but perhaps not for everyone. It is intense. People, when they finish though, describe it as one of the best experiences of their lives. And I talk to alumni, from 40 years ago who still talk about their Middlebury experience very fondly. So who are we and how kind of massive are we? So we enroll over 1,400 students. And here's where it differs, of course, in our market and kind of the standard gap year model. Our students are pretty much 18 to 80 plus, we say. And I say pretty much, in that I was just pulling the numbers, and this summer we have 20 students who are under 18, so it's not a hard cutoff or anything like that. And we also have our oldest student this summer who is 86 years old. So it's a wide range of students, a wide range of student needs, but they all come here with one goal and to learn the language or improve on their language. So about 18% are complete beginners. We do have quite a few students who come here really with the purpose of getting that college credit, transferring that back to their school, of course. But we get more and more working professionals, immigration lawyers, nurses, doctors, journalists who really need the language for a specific reason. So, and working with the high school population, that's something definitely to point out, because Middlebury College right now doesn't look like your standard college campus. It really is all ages, but the biggest group are those students who are 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21. So here are the programs and kind of a little bit more about their length. Our model is that we run late July to mid-August. Programs are either 7 or 8 weeks, and within that short period of time, students can get 9 or 12 college credits. So for that 7-week option, they're going to get 9 credits. For the 8-week option, they're going to get 12 college credits. So they're literally going to get a Middlebury College transcript with 3 course grades that then they can take to Princeton or Conn College or the University of Virginia and transfer typically all the credits over. So kind of give them a jump start in getting potentially even their language credit. Some students, or I should say, some colleges don't perhaps accept all of the credits, or some colleges accept even more, kind of based on the time frame of all the coursework that students are doing. But here's, basically the model is 7 or 8 weeks. Only a few of our programs, Abenaki, Hebrew, and Russian, have shorter options, just so you know. Our programs are pretty set in stone every single summer, as is our admission cycle. So we accept students all the way until June 1st. But after that, we try not to make exceptions since we are up and running by mid-June. So high school students do have to decide pretty quickly or enough in advance to give them a little bit of time before they get here. Students should feel ready, of course, to live on a college campus away from their parents. I always say for graduating high school students, it's almost a great kind of interim time to get used to living on a college campus before they really dive into it wherever they choose to go. And it's especially great before a gap year program because then when they're applying for colleges, they can talk about, their experience at Middlebury, which was highly academic, highly rigorous, to kind of help in that college application process. So that was just kind of a quick snapshot of Middlebury College and Middlebury Language Schools. As Philip said, it's hard to kind of cram everything into a short period of time, but wanted to give you the highlights and just a little bit more about our programs. Any questions?
Thanks so much, Molly. I had a question. Could you give us a snapshot of like a day in the life? If we were a
Yeah.
student there, what's it like to be there?
Yeah, great question. So students are in class quite a bit. So every morning from about 8 to noon, they are in class. A lot of times faculty are rotating or they're moving from class to class. So it's not just kind of a straight class all the way through. But that beginning portion of the day is dedicated for class time. Classes are small, anywhere from 5 to 15 students. So they do get that direct contact with faculty who are coming from all over the world. Each language has a set time for lunch, as well as dinner. So you just be going to your meals with the Arabic students or the Russian students. And then afternoons are a little bit more dependent on what the student is interested in. But they could be, on the Spanish soccer team, playing the Russian school, similar for other sports, or they could be doing play practice. They could be learning how to do the tango. Lots of guest speakers. What's really neat about Middlebury is I feel like once students are in college, a lot of times they have to be the star soccer player even to be on the intramural team. But at Middlebury Language Schools, everyone's kind of a star, and can participate in all of the things and learn how to do things kind of right from the beginning. Evenings, there is homework, and a lot of times you'll see students studying together, or going to a speaker in the evening. The languages, of course, are how should I say this? Kind of bilanguage. The Spanish schools having parties pretty much every other day, at night, while you'll see the Chinese and Japanese and Russian students in the library. But it is generally a great time all around for all the students.
Thanks for sharing. It's, I think, always helpful to try and imagine ourselves there and what that's like. Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Molly. And we have, with the big Feb admit population, we actually work with a ton of Middlebury students, not a ton, but every year. I'm a gap year consultant. I'm curious about, I've actually never been able to refer, I haven't yet referred the language program, and I'm curious because oftentimes taking classes for those students of ours who have a college acceptance and have deferred, taking classes earning credit can actually violate the college's enrollment terms. So I'm curious, to me, it's not a slam dunk that they would get to transfer those credits. So is there any way, can you address that? Surely you've come across that. And do you help advise students who even know their incoming institution, or just kind of how do we navigate that? Because it's not a black and white thing, earning college credit on a gap year and getting those accepted by your incoming institution. So that's my question.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not a slam dunk, and where we really advise students is to connect with their college directly. where I've seen it not work is, for example, if they're taking beginning level Spanish at Middlebury College, but then they are also taking, the same or very similar level at the institution that they're going into. A college, of course, will not give double credit. And at those times, I've seen the college kind of shift it down to 6 credits, or even 3 credits going in. So they have to follow the policies of their school. I will say that Middlebury Language Schools is, regarded as the best place to come for languages. So often colleges, they understand Middlebury, and they've had students previously who've enrolled. And so what I see, I generally don't see too much pushback from the colleges, but of course we're on the very front end too. So I think, as I mentioned in the presentation, it's credits from Middlebury College, which I've always thought, and when I first started here, I thought it would say, kind of Middlebury Language Schools, which I don't know, doesn't seem perhaps to carry the same amount of weight. So I think that's a big leg up too, that they are getting the credits directly from Middlebury College. And of course, not all students do transfer the credits back. They're coming purely for learning the language.
Holly, I may have missed it, but did you address costs, and also can 529s be used to pay for, or FAFSA
Yep.
loans? Can that be used to pay for that?
Yep. So tuition, room, and board are lumped together for our program, since you're required to live on campus and eat all of your meals together. The costs for the 7-week program are about $12,000. So it's about 8,000 tuition, 4,000 room and board. And then for the 8-week programs, it's about $16,000, kind of split. We students are able to use their 529 and also apply for need-based financial aid. Need-based financial aid is not just limited to Middlebury College students. It's open to everyone, working professionals, international students, rising college students. That will cover typically about half, depending on the language. So 50% of the $12,000, or if you're looking at it just from a tuition standpoint, about 70% of tuition it can cover. So this is all funding from alumni. Students don't have to pay back those costs. So
Amazing.
Middlebury is expensive, but what's fantastic about it is that funding that students can get.
Great. Any additional questions?
I have
Yeah.
another question. Oh, is there someone else? I mean, I was thinking about, Molly, how when students do a semester abroad, they will often comment on their gap year that they gained, 2 years worth of classroom language learning in a 3-month experience, and often place accordingly. They do incredibly well. What in a 7 or 8 week program, and I'm sorry if I missed this, what I mean, I know I don't want to make you like commit to something that we're all going to just like sign off on, but like what could students expect in terms of their levels of advancement over that time? And also, I'm
Yeah.
curious about, a lot of people want to learn languages overseas to be fully immersed. And I know you've created this immersive environment. It still sounds really academic. Like sometimes our international programs, like the class will go out onto the streets and we're in the markets and we're navigating things. Is there a conversational aspect? So it's not just, I'm trying to think about how to sell it to my students. So sitting in a
Yeah.
classroom
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a real hard sell in the summertime, even though Middlebury is sublime. Love it. We have good friends up there. But like, so yeah, the classroom time, and then also like
The
how
results.
many levels
Yeah.
might a student expect to achieve in that time?
Yeah, so Middlebury Language Schools does so well because results. And that's why people come from all over the world. That's why ambassadors leave their positions in China to actually come to Vermont to learn the language. So within that 7 or 8 week period, students typically improve about a year's worth. Students who improve the most are complete beginners. Sometimes they improve about a year and a half or even more in terms of the levels. But then we also get that group who's really trying to become fluent. That's harder, of course. But that's why people choose Middlebury too to get to that fluent level. Um, as and that's why they come here, purely results. I mean, you'll see people who go abroad to Japan for a year and then they come to Middlebury language schools because they want to learn Japanese, which, there's just so much English now in places like Japan and Germany and Spain that they do it in reverse. As far as the classroom, I may have kind of made that sound more bleak than it truly is. Our goal at the language schools is to create this, dynamic, fun, enriching experience. There is that classroom setting, which we feel like, at this point can't be taken away. It's why some programs abroad just simply don't work. Like you can't learn Italian in a coffee shop, unfortunately. But the events that we create are second to none. We're bringing in bands from Brazil and Portugal, and there's nights where they're making mochi in the Japanese school, and tea nights weekly in the Russian school. And so the whole campus truly comes alive. It's almost hard to explain, but every night there's 3 or 4 events that one school can go to. And in terms of like helping to run the programs, it's almost too many. I think we give our students way too many options. But there's tons of things that they can do, and that's why people describe it as the best summer of their lives. They work hard, but then they have so much fun on the other side of it. So, and especially adults too. I mean, with Philip, we were talking about kind of the adults looking for gap years and gap experiences. We have so many adults who want this kind of like summer camp experience, and they come to Middlebury for that. So,
I saw that Lena asked if the minimum age
oh,
was 17.
yeah, great question. So there's no minimum per se. We've had a couple 15-year-olds, kind of the youngest is 16, 17. Um, I would say kind of you all probably know best that type of student who would fit into this environment. A lot of times, perhaps they've already traveled abroad, lived away from home, and are ready for a true college experience. So if we have a 16-year-old apply, we interview them. We get additional information. We also get a guidance counselor to recommend them because a 16-year-old who hasn't had those experiences won't be the best fit for a place like Middlebury. So,
And I think I had a 16-year-old years ago who went, and I mean, she's 30 now, but she also found her people. She actually wound up going to Georgetown years later and doing the School of Foreign Service. So
yeah,
for her, it was like a transformational summer, quite honestly. And she loved being in a place where she all spoke the language all summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, Pamela, a type of student, and we've
Hmm.
all seen those, and those students thrive here. I mean, they find their people, I always think of kind of the anime crowd. Those students do amazing here because there's other students like them. They all love the language. And then they go on to college and just do amazing things. So.
Di
Admissions process I saw in the chat. So our application always opens in November. Students can apply from November to June. We do require an official transcript from their high school or college, one recommendation form, and then a few essay questions. The essay questions do kind of really push the student to say like, Do you understand this is a very serious, intense experience? Describe experiences where you've had that. But it's not as hard as applying for like Middlebury College or Princeton. Students who really self-select into Middlebury language schools and are a good fit will, as we were just talking about, will thrive here. So our admissions aren't too strict. It's a type of student who does really well. So.
Thanks so much, Molly. There's one more question that just came through. What do adults need to give for application, essay,
Yep.
and more?
Yeah, so very similar. Technically, we do require, because since our students all get college credit, that official transcript, we're becoming more and more lenient with adults because we're getting more and more adults applying. And so if they can show, that they graduated many years ago and just produce that, even like take a picture of their diploma, that's fine to be admitted into the program. But otherwise, it is that standard process. I should say students aren't tested to see what language they are at until closer to arrival or when they get here. So the application process, they just estimate their language level. It doesn't matter. It's for our planning purposes, and then sometimes students move up or down. So.
Thank you so much, Molly. And if you wouldn't mind dropping your information and the
Sure.
website in the chat, that would be great. It's been really nice to hear more about Middlebury Language Schools. It's incredible. And that sounds like a dream, something to put on the bucket list for sure.
Yep. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Molly. I'm gonna stop the recording now.